Have you ever noticed how some people just seem to age differently? Maybe you've met someone in their 80s or even 90s who still has a sparkle in their eye, a steady step in their walk, and a laugh that fills the whole room. You look at them and think, what's their secret? How are they still going strong when so many others are slowing down? It almost feels like they've figured out a hidden code to life, one that lets them squeeze out every last drop of energy, joy, and time. And here's the truth. There really are secrets. Not magical pills or expensive treatments, but real habits and choices that people who live to 100 and beyond tend to have in common. These aren't theories pulled out of thin air. They've been studied in what are called blue zones, the parts of the world where people live the longest and healthiest lives. These people don't just live longer. They live better, often staying active, sharp, and independent right up until their final years. Now, you might be wondering, why does this matter for you? Well, if you're watching this, chances are you're at a stage in life where you care about making the years ahead as full and vibrant as possible. Maybe you've already started to notice little changes in your body. Slower recovery after exercise, more aches in the morning, or maybe even moments where your memory feels a little foggy. These things are normal, but they don't have to define your future. The beauty of these longevity secrets is that they're not reserved for a special few. They're practical, doable, and can be woven into your own daily life, no matter your age. So today, let's take a deep dive into these 4 powerful longevity secrets. Think of it less like a lecture and more like a friendly conversation over a cup of tea, where I share with you the little nuggets of wisdom gathered from people who have truly mastered the art of aging gracefully. My goal isn't just to inspire you, it's to give you something you can actually use, starting today, to add more years to your life and more life to your years. Let's begin with the first secret, one that shows up over and over again in people who make it to 100. It might surprise you, because it's not about eating kale every day or running marathons. The very first secret to longevity is having a strong sense of purpose. Now, that might sound a little abstract at first, but let me explain. In Okinawa, Japan, one of those famous blue zones, people talk about something called ikigai. It's a Japanese word that means a reason for being. It's what gets you out of bed in the morning. For some, it's tending a garden. For others, it's caring for grandchildren, volunteering in the community, or even just being the person who always has a kind word for neighbors. Whatever it is, it gives them direction, a sense of usefulness, and a reason to keep moving forward. Think about it for yourself. What is it that still lights you up? Is it painting, singing in a choir, or sharing stories with your family? Maybe it's simply the joy of walking outside and greeting the morning sun. Having purpose doesn't have to mean working a job or starting a big project. It's about finding meaning in the little things you do every day. Studies actually show that people with a clear sense of purpose live longer and healthier. They have lower rates of heart disease, better mental health, and even stronger immune systems. It's as if the body itself responds to that inner drive. When you have something to look forward to, your body and mind get the message. Stay alive, stay well, there's more to do here. I'll share a story with you. There was a woman in Sardinia, Italy, who lived well into her hundreds. When people asked her about her secret, she didn't talk about diet or exercise first, though she did plenty of both. Instead, she smiled and said, "I wake up every morning to sing to my goats." That was her purpose. It may sound small, but to her, it was everything. It gave her routine, joy, and something to pour her energy into each day. So, how can you apply this? Start by asking yourself, what gives me joy? What makes me feel useful or connected? Write it down if you need to. Maybe it's sharing wisdom with younger generations. Maybe it's creating art. Maybe it's caring for a pet. Whatever it is, make it a part of your daily life. Purpose isn't something you find once and keep forever. It's something you create, nurture, and carry with you, no matter your age. Now, let's move to the second longevity secret, one that is just as powerful and perhaps even more enjoyable. This one is all about staying socially connected. If there's one thing that truly sets apart the communities where people live the longest, it's their relationship. They don't isolate themselves, and they don't live their days in silence. Instead, they are deeply woven into a social fabric. In Okinawa, elders are part of small friendship groups called moais. These groups meet regularly, check on each other, and provide both emotional and practical support. In Sardinia, you'll find older men gathering in the village square to laugh, play cards, and swap stories, while women walk together to church or share meals. And here's why that matters. Loneliness is actually one of the biggest threats to our health as we age. In fact, some studies say loneliness can be as harmful as smoking a pack of cigarettes a day. It increases stress, weakens the immune system, and raises the risk of heart problems and dementia. On the flip side, having regular social contact, whether it's with family, friends, neighbors, or even a local group, keeps the mind sharp, the mood uplifted, and the body healthier. Think back to your happiest memories. Chances are, they weren't moments you spent alone. Maybe it was a birthday surrounded by loved ones, a trip with friends, or simply laughing over dinner with family. Human beings are wired for connection, and it's never too late to nurture that. Even if your circle has gotten smaller with time, there are still so many ways to stay connected. Call an old friend, join a book club, volunteer at a local charity, or strike up a conversation with your neighbor. Sometimes, even small gestures like smiling at the cashier or chatting with someone on a morning walk can bring that sense of connection back into your life. Let me tell you about a man named Pietro from Sardinia. He was over 90 when interviewed, but he still met his friends every afternoon to play cards at the local cafe. He said it wasn't about winning the game, it was about the laughter, the stories, and the bond they shared. That daily ritual gave him joy and kept him rooted in his community. He had something to look forward to every single day, and that kept him alive and thriving. So, ask yourself, who are the people in your life that make you smile, laugh, and feel cared for? Reach out to them more often. And if you feel your circle is too small, don't be afraid to build new connections. The simple act of belonging to a community is one of the most powerful medicines for longevity. When you put these first two secrets together, a sense of purpose and strong social connections, you start to see a beautiful picture forming. Life isn't just about the number of years we live, but about the richness of those years. Purpose gives us direction. Relationships give us warmth. Together, they create a foundation for health and happiness that no medicine could ever replace. And that brings us naturally to another secret, one that builds on these and adds another layer of strength to the foundation of a long, vibrant life. And that brings us naturally to another secret, one that builds on purpose and connection, but takes it deeper into the very rhythm of our days. This third longevity secret is about how we move our bodies, not with extreme workouts or punishing routines, but with gentle, natural activity woven into everyday life. In the modern world, so much of what we hear about exercise comes with a kind of pressure. Join a gym, push harder, lift heavier, sweat more. But if you look at people who live to 100, you'll find almost none of them are spending hours lifting weights or running marathons. Instead, their movement looks very different. It's simple, consistent, and a part of daily living. Take Okinawa again as an example. Many elders there still garden well into their 90s and 100s. Gardening doesn't just get their hands in the soil, it also keeps them bending, squatting, pulling, carrying, and walking, all forms of natural movement that keep their joints supple and muscles strong without strain. In Sardinia, men and women live in steep mountain villages. Walking up and down those hills every day gives them a kind of built-in workout that doesn't feel like exercise at all, it's just life. In Nicoya, Costa Rica, older folks still chop wood, ride bikes into town, and take long walks with friends or family. What stands out in all these places is not intensity, but frequency. Movement is not scheduled, it's embedded in the flow of their daily routines. They walk to visit neighbors instead of driving. They kneel while working in the garden. They carry groceries or baskets from the market. They sweep their homes by hand, they climb steps, they stretch without even thinking about it. This kind of slow, steady activity keeps the body strong, balanced, and resilient in a way that no quick-fix fitness plan can match. And here's something worth remembering. Our bodies were designed to move. Every joint, every muscle, every bone responds to gentle use. When we move, we improve circulation, feed oxygen to the brain, strengthen the heart, and keep the muscles from shrinking. When we sit too much, the body slows, the mind slows, and little by little, life feels heavier. But the good news is, you don't need to do anything extreme to reverse that. Think about your own daily life. Are there places where you could add more natural movement? Maybe it's choosing to walk a little further when you park, taking the stairs instead of the elevator, or spending 15 minutes tending plants in the yard. Maybe it's dancing a little to your favorite song in the kitchen while cooking, or simply standing and stretching during TV commercials. Movement doesn't have to be structured, it just has to happen often. Let me share a story. A woman in Loma Linda, California, another one of the blue zones, was still walking around her neighborhood every single morning at the age of 95. When asked why, she laughed and said, "Because my legs still work, and I don't want to waste them." That's the mindset. It wasn't about burning calories or tracking steps. It was about valuing the gift of movement and using it every day. And if you ever feel discouraged, thinking, "Well, I'm not as strong as I used to be," remember this: you don't need to be. Longevity is not about speed or strength. It's about consistency. Even the smallest movement, done regularly, sends powerful signals to your body that say, stay alive, stay active, stay well. Now, along with moving naturally, there's another deeply important secret that people who live past 100 tend to share. And this one might surprise you because it's not about food or exercise. It's about how they handle stress. Stress is one of the most silent but dangerous threats to our health. It creeps into the body quietly, raising blood pressure, tightening muscles, disturbing sleep, and weakening the immune system. Over time, it wears us down. Chronic stress has been linked to heart disease, dementia, and even shorter lifespans. But here's the beautiful truth. The world's longest living people all seem to have ways of protecting themselves from being crushed by stress. What's interesting is that they don't avoid challenges. Life in these places is often filled with hard work and obstacles, but they have rituals, habits, and mindsets that allow them to release stress instead of letting it build. For example, in Okinawa, many elders take time each day to honor their ancestors and express gratitude. That simple ritual helps them feel grounded, connected, and at peace. In Sardinia, daily laughter and time with friends is a kind of stress relief in itself. Humor, storytelling, and companionship are powerful medicine. In Loma Linda, many of the residents are Seventh-day Adventists, and their faith includes a Sabbath rest, a full day each week dedicated to slowing down, praying, and being with family. In Nicoya, people take time for siestas, a short rest in the afternoon that allows the body to reset. Do you notice the pattern? These people aren't free from problems, but they make space for recovery. They don't let stress dominate their lives. Instead, they pause, they breathe, they connect with something bigger than themselves. And science shows us this isn't just cultural, it's deeply biological. Regular moments of relaxation reduce inflammation in the body, strengthen the immune system, improve sleep, and even protect the brain from decline. So what about you? What are your rituals of release? Maybe it's sitting quietly with a cup of tea, listening to birdsong outside your window. Maybe it's saying a prayer, meditating, or simply taking 3 slow, deep breaths when you feel tension rise. It could be walking in nature, journaling, knitting, or even spending a few minutes petting a beloved dog or cat. Stress doesn't vanish, but when we build small daily habits to let it out, we give our bodies a chance to repair instead of being stuck in constant fight-or-flight mode. One man from Okinawa, when asked how he avoided stress, said, I let it pass through me like wind. What a beautiful way to think of it. Problems may blow into our lives, but we don't have to hold on to them forever. We can let them move on, while we stay rooted like a tree, steady and strong. Here's a simple practice you can try. The next time you feel your mind racing or your chest tightening, pause for just a moment. Place your hand over your heart, close your eyes, and take a long breath in, then slowly let it out. Do that 3 times. You might be surprised at how quickly your body softens, your thoughts slow down, and your shoulders release. That's your nervous system resetting itself, reminding you that you are safe, that you don't have to carry everything at once. When we put these pieces together, moving naturally and managing stress, we begin to see why these communities thrive into old age. Their bodies stay strong because they move. Their minds and hearts stay calm because they know how to rest. They don't separate health into different boxes. They live it as one flowing rhythm of activity and restoration, effort and ease, community and solitude. And just think for a moment about how different life feels when stress isn't running the show. Food tastes better. Sleep feels deeper. Relationships feel lighter. The whole world looks brighter. It's not about eliminating every problem. It's about creating space to breathe in the middle of it all. That is a true longevity secret. When you hold on to purpose, surround yourself with people you love, keep your body gently moving, and find ways to release the weight of stress, you begin to live in a way that feels sustainable, natural, and deeply joyful. And of course, there's still one more piece to this longevity puzzle, one that ties everything together in a way that nourishes not just the body, but the spirit as well. And of course, there's still one more piece to this longevity puzzle, one that ties everything together in a way that nourishes not just the body, but the spirit as well. We've talked about purpose, about connection, about moving naturally and managing stress. But the last secret is one that most of us are already aware of, though maybe not in the way you'd expect. It's the way these long-lived people nourish themselves with food and drink, not through complicated diets, but through simple, mindful choices made over a lifetime. When researchers look at the diets of people in the blue zones, they don't find fad diets, strict calorie counting, or endless rules. What they see instead are meals that are simple, mostly plant-based, and shared with others. In Okinawa, there's an old saying, "Hara hachi bu." It means eat until you're 80% full. That one phrase alone may explain so much. Instead of overeating, people stop before they feel stuffed. It's not about denying themselves pleasure, it's about knowing when enough is enough. Over time, that simple habit prevents the weight gain, the digestive strain, and the metabolic issues that so many of us struggle with. In Sardinia, meals often center around whole grains like barley, beans, vegetables, olive oil, and the occasional bit of goat's milk, cheese, or fish. In Nicoya, families eat corn tortillas, beans, squash, and fresh fruit from the land. In Loma Linda, many of the residents are Adventists who follow a vegetarian lifestyle, focusing on nuts, beans, fruits, and vegetables. What unites all of these is not perfection, but simplicity. Meals come from the earth more than from factories. They're made at home, often from scratch, and eaten slowly, often with loved ones. Now, I'm not saying you need to overhaul your entire diet overnight or cut out every treat you enjoy. That's not realistic, and it's not even necessary. What matters more is balance, moderation, and adding more of the foods that truly give life. If you can add an extra serving of beans or lentils a few times a week, if you can swap soda for water or tea more often, if you can fill your plate with colorful vegetables instead of highly processed foods, you are already moving closer to what centenarians have been doing for generations. And here's something worth remembering. Food is not just fuel. It's connection. It's culture. It's joy. In every one of these long-living communities, meals are rarely eaten alone. They're shared at the table, sometimes with large families, sometimes with neighbors, sometimes just with a friend. Eating becomes not just about nutrients, but about belonging. And we all know that when you share a meal with someone you love, it feels different. It nourishes not only your body, but your heart. One elder from Nicoya once said, "The food tastes better because we eat it together." Isn't that beautiful? Science would actually agree. When we eat in company, digestion improves, stress decreases, and even nutrient absorption is better. The act of slowing down, talking, laughing, and enjoying food with others transforms the whole experience. So perhaps the final secret to longevity is not just what we eat, but how we eat, slowly, gratefully, and in connection with others. Now, let's pause and take a step back. We've explored these 4 secrets: purpose, connection, movement, stress relief, and mindful nourishment. When you put them together, you notice something. They aren't about adding years just for the sake of numbers. They're about adding life to the years we already have. They're about waking up in the morning with something to look forward to, feeling strong enough to take a walk, laughing with someone you care about, and ending the day with a satisfied smile instead of exhaustion. And the beautiful part is this: it's never too late. You don't have to be born in Okinawa or Sardinia to live with these habits. You can begin right where you are. Start with something small. Find one purpose, however tiny, that lights you up. Call one friend today and reconnect. Add one more vegetable to your dinner plate. Take one gentle walk after lunch. Breathe deeply for 1 minute before bed. These small steps, done with consistency, create a ripple effect that grows stronger with time. A woman I once read about didn't start exercising until she was 70. At first, she could barely walk around the block. But she did it every day. By 80, she was walking miles. By 90, she was still gardening and climbing steps with ease. She didn't start out strong. She started out willing. And that made all the difference. Maybe you've been feeling lately like time is slipping faster than you'd like. Maybe you've noticed aches, or the loss of people you love, or the quiet that can creep in when life slows down. That's natural. But longevity isn't just about stretching years. It's about making the time we have rich and full. It's about choosing joy, choosing connection, choosing movement, choosing nourishment. And all of that is still available to you, no matter your age. I want you to imagine yourself 5 years from now. Picture yourself with a little more strength in your legs, a little more laughter in your days, a little more energy in your mornings. Picture yourself waking up with something to look forward to, whether it's tending flowers, playing with grandchildren, painting, or simply enjoying a warm cup of coffee on the porch. That version of you is absolutely possible. It starts with the choices you make today. So I encourage you, take one of these secrets and put it into practice right now. Maybe today you'll call a friend. Maybe you'll step outside and take a walk around the block. Maybe you'll decide to eat until you're 80% full tonight instead of going for that extra serving. Small, simple choices are the bricks that build a long, beautiful life. And if you've ever doubted yourself, if you've ever thought, "It's too late for me," let me remind you of this. People in their 90s and even 100s are still planting gardens, still cooking meals, still laughing with neighbors, still creating new memories. Age does not mean the end. Age means experience. It means wisdom. It means opportunity to shape your days in a way that truly matters. So as we wrap up, I want to leave you with this thought. Longevity is not just about reaching 100. It's about living fully at 60, 70, 80, 90, and beyond. It's about waking each morning with gratitude, moving your body with love, sharing your life with others, and finding joy in the simple things. If this message resonates with you, I'd love for you to share your own secret to a happy life in the comments below. What brings you purpose? What keeps you moving? What habit makes you feel alive? Your wisdom may be just the thing someone else needs to hear today. And if you found value in this conversation, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. That way you won't miss more tips, stories, and encouragement designed to help you live your best life, no matter your age. Here's to you, to your strength, your resilience, and your future. May you carry these secrets with you, not just as ideas, but as daily practices that bring more light, more laughter, and more years into your life. Because the truth is, you deserve it. You deserve to live not just long, but well. You know, as we've been walking through these longevity secrets together, something strikes me. They're not really secrets at all. They're reminders. Reminders of how life was meant to be lived before everything became so rushed, so complicated, so distracted. In many ways, the people who live to 100 aren't doing anything extraordinary. They're simply living in alignment with what the human body and spirit have always needed. Purpose, connection, movement, peace, and nourishment. It makes me think of how life has changed in just a few generations. Maybe you remember, like I do, when neighbors used to sit out on porches in the evening, chatting until the sun went down. When children played outside until the streetlights came on. When meals were slow, cooked at home, and shared around a table. When walking was just how you got places. These things weren't health hacks. They were just life. And yet, those simple rhythms built resilience, joy, and longevity without anyone even realizing it. The beauty of looking at these long-living communities is that they remind us we don't need anything fancy to add years to our lives. We don't need the latest supplements or expensive gadgets or complicated diet. What we need is to remember what already works, the basics, the things that fill the heart and steady the body. Let's take purpose, for example. So many of us were raised to believe that purpose is tied to productivity, your job, your role, what you accomplish. But the truth is, purpose doesn't retire when you do. In fact, it can grow stronger. Maybe your purpose now is to share stories with your grandchildren so they know their family history. Maybe it's to tend a garden and bring beauty into your community. Maybe it's to be that person who smiles at everyone in the grocery store, reminding them that kindness still exists. Purpose is not measured in size. It's measured in meaning. And meaning never runs out. Or think about connection. The older we get, the easier it can be to feel isolated. Friends move, family members get busy, and sometimes loneliness creeps in quietly. But here's the wonderful thing, connection doesn't always require a big group. It can be as simple as having one good friend you call each week, or even just regular chats with your neighbor across the fence. Every hello, every laugh shared, every story told is like medicine for the soul. And just like the Sardinian men gathering to play cards, or the Okinawan women supporting each other in moais, we too can weave connection into our lives in small but powerful ways. Movement, too, is something we sometimes overcomplicate. We think it has to be about treadmills or heavy weights, but in reality, the body thrives on gentle, frequent motion. Think of gardening, sweeping, walking, climbing stairs, stretching. These are the movements of life, and when you do them often, your body thanks you with stronger muscles, steadier balance, and a heart that keeps on beating with energy. One elder in Sardinia put it perfectly. I move because I have to, but also because I want to. His sheep needed him. His land needed him. And so he kept moving, naturally, joyfully, every single day. And then there's stress. The truth is, stress is unavoidable. We all face it. But the people who live the longest know how to let it go. They pray, they laugh, they nap, they sing, they breathe deeply. They don't pretend life is perfect. They simply refuse to let life's troubles take root in their bodies. And we can do the same. Even something as small as pausing for 3 deep breaths, or taking a short walk outside when you feel overwhelmed, can change the way your body responds. The problem isn't stress. It's whether we carry it or release it. Finally, food. Oh, food. So many of us have been told what not to eat, what to avoid, what to fear. But the centenarians don't live in fear of food. They eat simply. They eat from the earth. They eat in moderation. And they enjoy their meals slowly, often with company. Imagine how different your body would feel if most of your meals came from plants, beans, nuts, and whole grains, with meat and sweets as occasional treats rather than daily staples. Imagine how your spirit would feel if those meals were shared with laughter and love instead of rushed or eaten alone. Food is more than fuel. It's joy, it's culture, it's connection. and that's part of why it keeps them alive so long. Now, I want to say something important. None of these secrets are about perfection. You don't have to do them all the time. You don't have to live exactly like someone in Okinawa or Sardinia. What matters is progress, small steps, tiny changes that add up over time. Maybe you start by taking a short walk each day. Maybe you call one friend this week. Maybe you add one vegetable to your dinner tonight. Maybe you practice stopping at 80% full tomorrow. That's it. Start there. Because little by little, those choices build into a rhythm of life that feels lighter, stronger, happier. And here's the part one love most. It's never too late. I can't say that enough. It doesn't matter if you're 60, 70, 80, or even 90. The body and the spirit are remarkably resilient. They respond to love, to care, to movement, to connection, even after years of neglect. You can always begin again. You can always choose to add more life to your days. I think of a man I once read about who started painting in his 80s. He'd never picked up a brush before, but he fell in love with it. By his 90s, he was still painting every day, and his work was even displayed in local galleries. He said, "I feel younger now than I did at 60. That's the power of finding purpose, of moving, of staying curious and alive." So, if you've been telling yourself it's too late, let me gently remind you, it is not. As long as you wake up in the morning, as long as you draw breath, as long as you have one more day, there is always something you can do to bring more joy and longevity into your life. Let me ask you, what would you like your next 10 years to look like? Do you want more laughter? More energy? More mornings where you feel grateful just to be alive? Those things are possible, not because of luck, but because of the choices you make today. And the good news is, you don't have to do it alone. Look around you. There are people who care, people who need you, people who would love to share in your journey. Reach out to them. Invite them in. Create your own little blue zone, right where you live. Your home, your family, your friendships. They can all become a place of longevity if you nurture them with love, laughter, and care. So as we close this conversation, I want you to feel encouraged. Longevity is not a mystery reserved for a lucky few. It is something you can build, piece by piece, habit by habit, choice by choice. Purpose, connection, movement, peace, nourishment. These are the pillars. Lean on them. Return to them. Live by them. And every time you do, you're not just adding years to your life. You're adding life to your years. You're giving yourself the gift of more smiles, more strength, more sunsets, more hugs, more moments worth remembering.